Hey guys, it's Spaces Sins, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. It has been a while for me because we were behind on our other game we were playing in tandem, so I had to record 2 routes of that, and cause I'm ahead in my recordings, I've been taking some time. I've been taking too long. We're I can only record one thing today, and I have to record, and now I'm it has been 100 years since I played this. It's been 84 years. But we are finally starting the final route. So, as you can see, we're on this new title-y screen. It's not really the title screen, but we had to start a new game because it does say in Otome Kitten's Guide, if you're not getting the salvation endings or any specific endings, it's most likely because you're loading a save file to start the route and have made a wrong choice, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, start a new game and follow the choices of this guide, including those in the common route precisely to a T. So we started a new game, and you have this, start this. It says start new game, select Act 3. Begin Act 3. Yes. I mean, I'm following the guide to a T. Ah! And I'm sorry, but if they're not, on coffee route, because they're the same. Fight me. There's no way. I was but that's not fair that they have both of them in the same, but after certain things that we've seen, if they're not somehow tied to very tightly together DNA-wise, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. I'm not sure who we're supposed to be reading this as, so I'm just gonna read it as myself. So, I could have retained hatred if it had a form. Why do people die in this country? Is it the fault of death's curse? Why are the people's hearts so warped? I'm assuming it's Onko, but who knows? Death's curse has driven them to insanity. I want to hate. I want it to hate. If death's manifestation were to reveal itself, I would use whatever means possible to decapitate and kill it. However, I understand well enough that resistance against tragedy is meaningless, which is why I'll do what I can to fight as a normal human. Now that sounds more like Adolphe. I need to return to my existence as a human. That sounds like Onko trying to go back to being Adolphe. All I'm saying! Okay. The preciousness of living a fleeting life, to face the very few years we're given. We will not accept the fate of succumbing to death after only 20 years of living. Hey, it's 23 years? Don't knock those last 3. To be fair, you don't really, half your life is spent being a kid and whatever, so kind of sucks. Even if I were to depart against my will, I'm certain that someone will appear to carry out my wishes. Whether despair or salvation. In what direction will death tip the scales? See if I can remember whose voice was what now, because it has been probably a month since I recorded this. And woo! Adolphe. Interesting. We're gonna flip back and forth. It's on Colfe. That's their combined name. It's the ship name that is really bizarre since they might very well be the same fucking person. Ooh. Interesting. Who was the question mark? I mean, you would think it was Adolphe because we're Adolphe, but anyway. I didn't make it in time. Oh! And we get a CG right off the bat, and he's all sad. Is this when we actually, killed ourselves in the beginning? We're starting this one off tragic. Look how beautiful he looks all in the rain, though. God damn. Game. You can't do this to me. Why? Why has this happened? I lamented as I embraced her soulless body. I closed my eyes. Memories of her living only moments ago flowed endlessly into my mind. Is this what triggers him to then somehow end up becoming Onko? Is that what we're getting? We're getting Onko's origin story? We're gonna get all the answers in this route that I forgot that I had questions for, by the way. He's Spacey. Please call my name, like you usually do. I haven't given you a single hope to live for yet. She didn't respond. The only thing I could hear were the raindrops on her body and my echoing cries. She wouldn't return, regardless of my regret. She was bound to the curse and forced to leave this world at 18 years old. So beautiful. I won't accept this ending. I don't accept any of the endings we've gotten so far, okay? I'm probably not going to accept the Salvation endings because I don't think that they're really that good. And then we get a fan disc that I'm so excited to play. Is that coming out in June or am I crazy? Is that June? When is it? Is June Radiant Tale? One of them. I don't remember. The death that took her from me. The curse. And whoever was responsible. Oh. One day, I will kill them all. You know, I'm just. Can you. Do you see when, like, she's, like, picking people and Uncle's like, nah, not that fucker. I'm just saying, did you just. You, me, same. It's like. Anko, Adelphi, same. Like, come on. From the bottom of my heart, I loathe the fate that condemned her to this. I mean, this just sounds like a man who might snap and become a crazy weirdo who lives in hell. I'm just I mean, it's very on brand for Adolphe, but it also they're very on brand for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lived my entire life among corpses. I was a sinister girl who brought misfortune to those around her, known as death itself. How are we us now? I don't know. That was who I was. Is this the afterlife? This one starts off a little confusing. I was dreaming, just like the black licorice flowers. Many, many lives were scattering into the crimson light. That happened when we burned for Eve in the licorice field and all those other people. The nightmare. Oh, nope. The first time we burned Eve. The nightmare began in a field of flames. I like how they word that, though. It began in a field of flames. And you can't do this one until after literally the field. The literal licorice flower field of flames. And then now we're here in a quote-unquote field of flames. You know they worded that way on purpose. If they didn't, it's a brilliant accident. You know what I mean? Because we're backtracking to, like, here where, like, yes, you could say that poetically. It's a field of flames, but we literally absolutely just finished a route that was that went up in a field of flames. Like an actual field. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too perfect. Burning, crumbling. That happened then too. Just yesterday, not really yesterday for you, but the day before, close enough. This was a special place for the smiling children, but okay, well. No! So hot! Okay, please don't make me read Screaming Children. It's already traumatic. Help! I don't wanna die. Okay, stop it, game. I won't be able to come back to life. They just keep making it worse. Stop it. The boy with the bright, innocent smile who told me that my stew was delicious turned into a lump of charred meat that smelled of oil. You did not have to go this hard 5 minutes in, game. Jesus! It's like I forgot what to expect from this game after like a month breather. Jesus. Ugh. Look. The burning and crumbling continued to reap the lives of those in my tiny world. Water! Water! Water, please. So dry. Hot. Some perished in the flames. Some were crushed by the falling debris from the house. One stood without motion, crying and praying over and over again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I know this is us as a child, so we should have child voice, but it's because I'm here. There was no point to my pathetic tears. They evaporated as soon as I shed them. The wall next to me groaned. It soon began to crumble and collapse in flames above me as though to take my life. No! A shadow jumped out of the crumbling wall. I heard the desperation in his voice, Baby Eve. That alone was enough for me to understand that it was directed toward me. After all, the boy who had jumped toward me... Ah! Was now enduring the flames and the suffering that should have befallen me. Who are you? Why are you... No! Don't give up! Forgot his, baby accent. The boy groaned in anguish as his face burned, but still he grabbed my hand with strength. I feel like this is the game we should get mad at for the constant, flashbacks and rehashing. You know when, games do that and they're like, hey, hi, how are you? I'm great. See you later. And I thought back on our conversation. Hey, hi. And you're like, we just had that literally 2 lines ago. I didn't need that. And then 5 lines later, it'll rehash. You know what I mean? But this is the game I want to be mad at because, it makes sense to think about it right now. And it's not that it's done it too much, but it's too much. Okay? I needed you to go through this once and never again. Don't keep bringing it up because it's traumatic. Why are you doing this to us? You're mean. I mean, I get why they're doing it, absolutely. But I'm just please stop. It hurts. Please stop reminding us about this. But of course it makes sense because she's constantly haunted by this. So the game's going to haunt us with it to make us feel like the main character. And you're like, I get it. Thanks. Please stop. No. Let's think about it again. No, please stop. I don't wanna. So I feel her despair right now because, please, we're 2 minutes in. Not even. But would it be 10 minutes in? Whatever. Jesus. One just starts off with a bitch slap to the face. I'm not looking forward to how it ends. The boy groaned in anguish as his face burned, but still he grabbed my hand with strength. He was doing his best to somehow lead me to the exit beyond the collapsed wall. The flames burning his flesh only grew. Ah! Hot! So hot! Someone! Anyone! Help me! No, please! Please save her! The kind, strong soul who was trying to save me. Ah! His face was melting from the flames. Oh, God. He let out a horrific scream. I want to, too. I know we've read this 3 or 4 times already, but it's just traumatic every time. And with that, the memory ended. And that's why I don't want them to rehash it. Not because, oh, God, we gotta read this again. Usually when you have to read it again, you're like, again? I gotta read this again? And that annoys me. It's a personal problem. You're like, yeah, I already read this. This is please don't make me read it. It hurts every time. It's not because I'm annoyed I have to reread it. I'm traumatized I have to reread it. That's exactly why. So, please don't. Now who's screaming? No! What? What did I do? I simply wanted to live life normally. Oh, is this we're thinking of that in the moment we stabbed ourselves in the throat? Together with my most beloved child. Wait, what? What now? What? What? That's a weird way to phrase that. What? Excuse me? Excuse me, ma'am? I just wanted to live life normally together with my most beloved child. Was that supposed to be our perspective? Because that's us. Who? What? Huh? Is that? I'm going to need you to put a pin in that one because the phrasing on that is questionable. Okay? I woke with a silent scream. My body was drenched in sweat and I could feel my chest heaving with panting breaths. I tried to calm myself, placing my hand over my heart. I felt it beating. I hadn't been burned, nor was I cold and lifeless, which meant I'm alive? I'm confused? Why was I alive? I know, right? Are we all confused here? Just as I had finished uttering those words, another thought arose from within. A dream. I let out a sigh and looked around the room. I get the fire scenario was a dream or a memory kind of dream. But we just stabbed ourselves in the throat and confused about that in the timeline now. Usually you see the rewindy thingy or something. So are we supposed to assume? Okay. So like in all the other ones, right? We know when we got bad ends, we like Anko could rewind time and go back and be like, no, 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 don't take that person. No, 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 don't do that. So do you think Anko's existence, if I'm just saying, we stab ourselves in the throat like in the common route in the game. Okay. Adolphe finds us. Fuck no! I won't have any of this! Somehow continues on his way to then becoming immortal, whatever the hell Anko is. Okay. And then goes back in time to when we're about to stab ourselves in the throat and stops us. So now we're back. That was the original timeline, was us stabbing ourselves in the throat. And now we're in the original timeline, and then we started over where we start the game and like, I'm gonna go stab myself in the throat in the field. And Anko's like, nuh-uh, bitch. I don't fucking think so. It was the first time we did it, and that created Anko's existence. If I'm just saying. That's woo! There's some weird time travel shit. I mean, there was already weird time travel shit before, but I'm not sure my brain is prepared for this after like the break I took. I'm not going to be prepared when we play the fan disc. I'm just saying, like, I really wish the fan disc was coming out, like, by the time we finished this, so we could just, like, jump right into it, because I'm not sure if we play a game in between that my brain is going to be prepared. Anyway, yes, this is definitely my room. The images I saw were from my past, a nightmare. All the orphanages look so similar that my dreams blended easily into reality. Maybe it's just me. I feel like I've been having the same dream over and over again. No, I feel the same way. And I don't remember exactly, but I think I saw something strange just before waking up. No, just stop, Spacey. Just the thought of the worst happening makes me feel like it'll come true. Probably will anyway. I gently shook my head to wake myself up, and I heard a light knocking on the door. I'm assuming it would probably be Salome that's knocking on the door. Spacey, are you awake? May I come in? Oh, yes, please come in. I still haven't had a chance to dress yet, but there's no need to worry. It'll just be you and me. I figured. Good morning, Spacey. What a wonderful day it is. She came in looking as beautiful as always, her habit swaying gracefully. Good morning, Sister Salome. Oh, she is so much. She's like, excuse me? No, wait. I mean, good morning, Mother. Very good. When we said Sister Salome, I was like, what fucking timeline are we in that's so wrong? And Salome's face was like, the fuck did you call me, bitch? I love it. I love it. The look on her face was great. You surprised me. I wondered if I'd done something wrong for you to address me like a stranger. I'm sorry. I must have still been half asleep. It is awkward. You know, I'm starting to wonder what else is happening here that we called her that. Like, I don't think that was like... I feel like that's... Is it just me? Or when shit like that happens, I feel like it's more pertinent. It's something that later on we're going to be like, oh my god, do you remember when we called Salome instead of Mother? And she would like... You know what I mean? I feel like it has more significance. It may not have any, but I feel like it does. Like, I'm like, put a pin in that one too. Put that up on the fucking, like, board of crazy. Like our conspiracy theory board over here. And also the my child or whatever she said earlier is like, wait, what? The wording on that? Like, I already forgot the wording, but I'm like, there's a weird phrasing that later is going to come back and be like, oh, you remember? I'm going to forget a lot of shit. And I might forget by then, but hey, I've at least noticed it now. I'm sure there's like 10 other things. Someone's going to be like, but you missed this, and this. Anyway. Sister Salome. It was 7 years ago, after the events of my fiery dream. The founder of this orphanage took me in when I had nowhere else to go. All of the children raised here, as well as those who had left to stand on their own, lovingly referred to her as Mother. It was she who had instructed us to do so. Judging by her appearance alone, I'd say she was around the same age I was. But in this country known as Arpachel, appearance was the least trusted of all. And again, going strictly by physical age, no one of 23 years or older existed here. Mother, was there something you needed? A task for me to do right away? Ah, that's right. It was the very reason I came to wake you. That is, if you don't mind, I was wondering if you might help me prepare breakfast for everyone. Huh? My bewildered response was not because I intended to refuse, but, Mother, it's just that, aren't the children gonna hate that idea? I suppose so. That is, if you were to serve them a plate of only vegetables, I wouldn't be surprised if they all made an attempt to flee. Spacey, I understand how you feel and what's going through your mind, but I sincerely believe you've committed to a life of self-loathing. At the very least, I can tell you that I'd be delighted to enjoy a home-cooked meal from you. I see. I'm sorry for saying such a thing so early in the morning. I'll help you prepare breakfast. I just need a moment to change my clothes. Good. I'll be waiting. The kinder Mother was, the more I despised myself for always responding with depressing thoughts. The only thing I'm confused about is this, right? I could see out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like reading the yellow. If you're not getting the salvation endings, blah blah blah. Start a new game, follow the choices of this guide, including those in the common route precisely to a T. But we did, I'm gonna assume, but this, it doesn't start you start here in Act 3. So although it's really bizarre because if you think about it, there really is no common route. Huh. There's individual characters. So we've done the common route for each character, I guess. Oh, well, we technically did every single option for the common route. Because there's different common route saves, we've done them all. So I don't know, it's just really weird, the wording, and it's kind of confusing. Also, so if I'm gonna guess in the timeline in this is before we've met everyone. Because it's not this feels more like right before she goes off and stabs herself in the throat, right? Because that's where Adolphe finds her. And then we're waking up alive. So it's the right before she makes that choice. So she hasn't met anyone. So she doesn't know science, she doesn't know anybody. I would assume, based on the way this is kind of starting. And it's kind of starting and explaining things to you as if you've never played any of the other stuff before, in a way. You're I feel like I'm in Crazy Town just a teeny bit right now. You know what I mean? Anyway. There were 16 people at the orphanage, including myself. The youngest here was 3 years old. The next oldest after me was 13. Unlike Mother, the children here looked their age. After the children finished eating, I quickly got to work cleaning the table when, out of nowhere, Mother asked if I could prepare dinner for 3 tomorrow. See, this is very much, I think we've done this. Because Adolphe is coming, we had this conversation, so this is very much, very similar to the common route that we did. Okay. Why dinner for 3? You're going to be surprised. Last night I received a message from the Corps. Your dear brother Adolphe is finally coming for a visit tomorrow evening. He's been assigned to patrol the area the day after, so he'll be staying the night. Really? Adolphe? The news was so uplifting that I momentarily forgot my natural reflex to appear strong. Oh, there he is. Adolphe used to live at the orphanage with us, and he was now 21 years old. I used to often cry and look down on myself, and he would always be there to protect me. He was just like a real brother to me. Oh, yay. Keep doing it. He's like my brother, my real brother. He's like, we might as well have been bored. We might as well have been twins. Keep hammering it in, game, because it's not going to turn me off. Okay? You're flipping the switch the wrong way if you're trying to turn it off, because it's just going on harder. The only way you can make this better game is we find out we were actually twins. I'm pretty sure I could handle it. I'm just saying. I could handle. Can I? Yeah. I mean, if I can handle banging my breath. Listen. I blame all Otome games. I blame one in particular. You know. If you know, you know. Okay. And if you don't know yet, you'll find it when you trip over the other ones, and then you'll come to that realization that there is one game in particular that I blame for starting this. And it's not the one where I actually got to bang my brother. That was after the fact. This is the one we know. Where I'm like, why not? Why can't I has? And then it's like, 'cause brother. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. The game tested me. It's like, you can't has because brother. And? That's no reason. Give me character. Let me has. I has character. Give me. Want. Spacey need. Give to me. Trying to make it simple for you, game, and you were like, no, that'd be weird. Fuck you. I'll tell you what's weird. Not let me date. Don't tempt me with this. Don't put the forbidden fruit in my face if you're not going to let me eat it. You know? Rude. I'll damn us all to hell. Gimme. And then we played a game where I actually got to bow my brother until we could test if I was actually going to balls up and be able to, do it. And you know what? We had a great time, and now I have a weird kink. Only in Otome games. Like, dating your brother in real life is disgusting. That's horrible. We don't do that's nasty. But again, the things that you do in Otome games, like, oh, I love it when they're mean to me. God, no, I wouldn't tolerate that bullshit in real life. But in these games, oh yeah, be meaner. I love it. Are you crying? Are you sad? Make you cry harder. You know what I mean? Like, these games really fuck you up, don't they? Anyway. What you learn from Otome games is how not to have a healthy relationship, basically. Anyway, he was just like a real brother to me. Ooh. Since leaving the orphanage, he was now living alone. Oh, that's such a shame. We should go live with him. In Koen, the commoners' district where we lived, he was the leader of the corps, which looked after public order. I read that really weird. Did you hear how we captured a group of thieves running rampant in North Koen? So I thought the three of us could enjoy a private celebration over dinner. Do you feel more motivated to prepare the dinner for us now? Yes, if that's the case. Then I'll make Adolphe's favorite stew. Suddenly a thought came to mind. But before that, Mother, has Adolphe mentioned anything about his health? Huh? Because of the curse. Right, he's basically immune to it, because Mother was going to use us as experiments. I know he's strong and probably doing fine, but I'm still worried. Not long ago, another man the same age as Adolphe collapsed. I see. Don't you worry. I've asked the other members of the corps, and they say they all say he's in perfect health. Okay. Anyway, same thing. He's so healthy that they haven't heard as much as a cough from him before. I see. It's good to hear. Now then, can I take it that you're up to the task today? Absolutely. Should I clean first? Or tidy up the place? Or maybe calculate this month's expenses? You just said the same thing twice. You really like to clean, don't you? Absolutely fucking not. I have a different request. I'd like to ask you to pick up some groceries at the marsh for tomorrow, as well as deliver another letter to Cernival. Yeah, this is absolutely like redoing the common route. I'm not sure if it's word for word, but it's very, very similar if not. But it's been a long time since we did it, so I don't mind. And obviously it's because it's setting up to then push us in a different path. But it is interesting. I carried with me the shopping list and the letter given to me by Mother. My first destination was one of the marketplaces in Coen that we called the Marsh. Shouldn't you have dropped off the letter first? Wouldn't that have been easier? Because that's the furthest distance. So you go the furthest place, and on your way back, hit the grocery store and bring your groceries home. As opposed to, let me pick up my groceries and then walk way the fuck to the middle of the city to go to Cerniville to drop off a letter to then walk all the way back home with all the fucking groceries. Am I stupid? I don't think so. I think she's being a dumbass here. Unless she's going to get the groceries, drop them off, and then go. But why would you have the letter with you then? I continue my search through the bustling crowd when... Hey, look! It's the blonde girl from the orphanage! She must be that Reaper girl. I'm sure of it. I haven't seen her around here in ages. The people enjoying their conversation suddenly stopped chatting. Bro, you need to get a wig. Their cold eyes turned toward me. Shut up, you idiot! She's gonna curse you to death if she hears you! I heard she could cut off the air from your lungs and give you a fever to boil your blood, or even vomit up all your insides. That's not all. Remember that fire 7 years ago? She can burn down houses with people still inside. So can an arsonist, but like, Jesus. Well, it won't be me. I don't have a spare body ready yet. There's no way I'm gonna die for good like some of the others she's killed. I even heard that some of the orphanage have gotten sick too. I wonder why they still allow her to stay there. 'Cause I threaten them, you hear? Bust your fucking kneecaps. All the hushed whispers I could hear were clearly about me. I looked toward the gossipers, and as they met my eye, they quickly turned away with expressions of disgust and fear. There's literally two ways that this goes when people are like this to you. You either become like her, and you become a kind of sad sack, and you take it all in, oh my god, I am a murderer, I'm horrible, or you're like, I'll give you something to bitch about, and then you just get like psycho, and you start like giving them the evil eye, like, I heard you talking. Just watch your back. That's a pretty nice life you got there. Be ashamed if, something were to happen to it. Like it disappears, you know what I mean? And then like... I kind of want this game. I want the game, but I want, like, her to just be like a 1920s gangster. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll bust your kneecaps before I choke the air out of your lungs. Motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I kind of just want to see her go a little psycho like this. Just for funsies. And not feel guilty about it. We have love interests that are complete and utter trash. We don't nearly get enough main characters like this. We get a little bit of batshit. We've gotten a couple that are a little batshit where you're like, she's a little crazy. Like, all right, I'll appreciate this. And then you get a little kooky. But we don't have quite the, like, sinister psycho. We usually date those. But I kind of... We need a little more like that. I want less sad sacks, and I want more sinister psychos. You know? Yeah. Let's goodies. Let's be some, like, goody baddie. Let's be in gray. Let's gray zone it, you know? Hello! I'd like to buy some things today. I forced myself to smile and appear unbothered by the situation. I mean, that's a normal response to, like, smiling on the outside while dying on the inside. The familiar routine didn't make me feel sad at all, just lonely. The mere sight of death shopping for food somehow struck fear into their hearts. They all watched me from afar with the usual suspicion. I hope you cannot hear my washing machine draining. It sounds loud as shit. You probably can't at all, but, like, goddamn, it's loud. I had to wash my sheets. Because I usually just change them and I just throw them and then I'm like, I've got a lot of sheets that need to get washed, so. It was no secret. The soul of death dwelled in my body. My existence spread misfortune to others, often worse than death alone. There were some out there who laughed off the superstitious story at first, but after hearing the details of my life, their laughter eventually subsided. After all, most who had become close to me for an extended period of time died an early death brought about by sudden accidents or severe illness, which is why I'm referred to as Death, the Reaper, and other such names. There were two types of curses that I inflicted upon others. One was contracting an incurable illness of unknown origin after becoming close to me. The other was a particular curse that had happened only once before. Right, and now we know why, is because she is basically a fucking plant. She's a human-plant hybrid. The memory of flames returned, wanting to say a plant-lamp hybrid was so... From A Night at the Roxbury, a plant-lamp shop. It was just so ingrained in my soul, I wanted to say a plant-lamp hybrid, because plant-lamp shop... It took a lot. But then I had to share it with you anyway. The memory of flames returned to mind. Oops, sorry. I was moving my cursor into my other hand. And I bumped my thing. The curse harbored inside me brought about that great fire. Yes, because she's very explosive when all the toxins come out. Yes. Or the toxins are explosive. It was 7 years ago. At the start of my life, I had lost my parents immediately upon birth. Know about that. Until the age of 11, I moved from one orphanage to another. My curse was evident even then, with many suspicious deaths occurring around me. Sometimes the founder would die, other times it was the children, or the facility itself would be destroyed. At first, everyone was sympathetic to my plight as an unlucky orphan. But as strange deaths continued to follow me, things slowly began to change. Soon, I was regarded as a bad omen and expelled from most places. I finally found myself in an orphanage that was well known and held in high esteem. Not only the adults, but the children were kind to everyone. They gave no heed to the rumors and treated me well, without any hint of fear. Well, that was their downfall. Sorry, but they consoled me, understanding the grief of loss and loneliness that I had felt all my life. Before long, I forgot that I was a source of misfortune and began to live a life of peace and harmony with everyone there. But one day the happiness I had long sought suddenly crumbled away. It started in the room where I stayed, a room absent of any sources of fire. Out of nowhere, a light sparked through the room, followed by a snapping sound. Suddenly, there was an explosion. I don't think we got that explanation before, like, there was no fire, and then all, like, that little bit, it was always just, oh my god, the place is on fire and whatever, and we know how it started because of the toxins are very, like, explosive or whatever. So, or flammable, whatever, but I don't think we ever had the line where she was like, I was in a room, there was no fire, and all of a sudden there was just a spark. You know what I mean? Like, that little added bit, I don't recall ever having come out, but the flames that resulted quickly engulfed the facility. And maybe because they've never brought that up, because then it would be like, okay, something she did cause it, as opposed to like before it's like, I caused the misfortune. You're like, it could have been caused by fucking anything. Someone left wood burning on the stove, like some kids playing with magic, like, you don't know. It just seemed to be like, yes, there was probably like a reasoning, and she probably had something to do with it, but there was still that maybe it's just a weird coincidence thing. But I was in a room without any fire and there was just magically a spark that just burst everything into flames. That makes it a little more sus, you know what I mean? But until you find out about her being a plant hybrid, like, or being able to absorb the toxins and then and then eventually letting them out, and that's what's killing people. Without that, you still have this little, like, maybe it's just a weird coincidence, So, nice that they, like, keep certain little details out and then kind of add them in now, now that you know the truth. About that anyway. All the residents burned to death except for a young boy visiting the orphanage who managed to save me in the process. A fire had been born from nothing, killing the innocent children without mercy. How could it be considered anything but a curse, misfortune, or even witchcraft? With each fire and each new death from sickness and disease, I carried another sin upon my back, leading the people to refer to me as Death. It didn't take long for everyone to follow suit. But yet they're smart enough not to kill her like they don't kill the flowers. From then on, people threw stones at me. Without a place to go or the courage to take my own life, I finally fell into despair. It was then that Adolphe and Mother found me and brought me to the orphanage, where I've stayed to this day. I feel incredible gratitude toward them both. I finished my shopping with that thought in mind, making my way out of the marsh and toward my next stop to deliver the letter. Again, going, it's complete backward order. Excuse me, sorry to bother you folks. My girlfriend just died. Would you mind helping me carry her out? Okay. Alright, so we're seeing this again. I noticed a man asking for help outside a nearby house. Despite the solemn nature of death, he spoke with a levity in his voice. Oh, come to think of it, she was about to turn 23 soon. She lived quite a long life, didn't she? Have you already submitted the paperwork to the Institute? Don't forget the gene and memory backup. No problems there. That's pretty much the reason we've been working to save up, you know. Okay, let's go. I want to bring her body to the Institute as soon as possible. I can't wait for them to clone her already. We know how that goes. The people quickly got to work, familiar with what was a common routine to them. A few minutes later, the body of the woman was carried away on a makeshift stretcher in a somewhat careless manner. Her face was left uncovered, and it felt strange to see them carry her away like a bundle of bones. You know, it is kind of funny because that's exactly, like, and they're putting in this, and you know exactly, like, they just haphazardly drag her out, and it's like, because they have no respect for her body, because, well, we're going to get a backup, so, like, fuck this one. Like an old pair of pants. Like, oh, this one's got some holes in it, but alright, throw them away. But, like, weirdly, even if you got a new pair of pants, and your old pair of pants were all ripped up and full of holes, and there was nothing you could do but throw them away, you'd still be like, oh, man, these pants serve me well. I'm going to miss these pants, but I got a new pair. You know what I mean? You'd have more compassion for a pair of pants you were throwing away than this person. That's the sad part. Like, you know what I mean? Is it just me? Like, no? Where you're like, I'm going to get rid of these clothes. I don't want these clothes anymore. I'll get rid of, hopefully someone else will get use out of it. You're thinking like, I hope someone else gets use out of these. Or when you have to throw something away, if it's something that, like, an item of clothing you liked, but it's all torn to shreds, you're like, oh man, that sucks. But they're like, just drag her, it's fine, whatever. No fucks given. Like, I would feel worse about a ripped up t-shirt having to throw it away than they feel about dragging this bitch down the street. You know what I mean? It's sad. Some fucked up shit. But again, that's how this world is, so it makes sense. I suppose the way everyone treats the dead differs. Nah, everyone here gives no fucks. Unless you don't have a backup, then they actually treat you like the way you should treat a person who died. With some respect. It wasn't particularly surprising. Both the casual reporting of the death as well as the way they carried away the body. I can read. The process was considered normal here. I continued on my way to deliver Mother's letter, walking in the same direction as the body that was disappearing into the distance. A thought came to mind. That man's girlfriend died just before she turned 23 years old. It's incredible. It's quite a feat to live that long. Maybe she was as healthy and strong as Adolphe. Well, I don't think anyone's that healthy or strong. Please be boyfriend. And by that, I mean Cyan. Are we going to be like a narrator? Because now we're just looking over Arpachel. Okay, I'm not sure who we are. It's someone telling us. Oh, wait. Who was telling this story in the original common route? Wasn't it Mathis? Are we? Okay, no. I was wondering, I'm like, does this count? This isn't the common route, so I don't think we can't skip this. Wasn't it Mathis reading the book to Jean doing this? I don't remember. Oh. I'm gonna go with it was Mathis I'm pretty sure in the common route Mathis was reading about Arpachel and then they switched to him and Jean. So I'm gonna read it like Mathis because I'm just gonna, and I'll take the L on that one if it's not, okay? And the small country of Arpachel is surrounded by the sea and fields of black licorice. Those born here are said to live under the dreaded curse of death, who's ruled over the land since ancient times. And the longest that one can live is 23 years. At first, the curse slowly ate... Okay, well now we don't know it's not someone speaking, so I'm just going to read normal. First, the curse slowly ate away at one's lungs. Those of frail constitution usually had symptoms arise in early youth. Once the person reached 20 years of age, an unsettling fatigue and breathing difficulties set in, and when they reached 22, they succumbed to various ailments, exhibiting more severe symptoms of their aging. And finally, should a person somehow survive until 23 years old, they were on the brink of death, unable to even get out of bed. None made it to their next year, and they all met their end by vomiting blood and suffocating to death because, one pair of chromosomes a year. I don't know how any of this works. Sure, okay. It was to this country that a soul drifted ashore from a faraway land. This soul, a young man known as the Drifter, blessed the people with knowledge, declaring that... Right, and Eve is related to the Drifter, right? Is that what it was? This country is a land possessed by death. Indeed. Maybe we don't get to see... Oh, we have no idea who was telling that story. Well, I feel like we had that, and then you get to the scene and you meet Mathis. And Jean, whatever. That's, I think, the first time you meet Mathis. I'm pretty sure he was reading the book or whatever. Or, explaining it. He doesn't have that. Well, because his family was involved in, publishing and all that stuff like that. So I thought he was the one doing it. But you know what? So we didn't get the exact full scene, but I'm still going to go with it's okay if I read it in his voice, because we don't really know who was speaking without the voice acting, and I can make it whoever the fuck I want it to be. It was a Mathis-esque voice. Anyway. It began around 60 years ago. Located at the country's center was the research district Cernaval, where particular technology was employed, altering the concept of life and longevity. I handed the letter to the guard at the gate, then walked away a few steps before turning around to look up at the grand structure. I had visited this facility a number of times to deliver letters from Mother, but I'd never stepped foot inside, not even once. Come to think of it, I wonder who the letter was for. My long-held curiosity finally came out in words. The letters I delivered had something called an ID on them that was assigned to those who worked at the research facility. Based on that, I assumed Mother's friend or acquaintance was a researcher working here. Or a research worker here, sorry. I'm still surprised that she knows someone at the Institute. We know who it is. Is Mother some kind of prominent figure by chance? Or perhaps she used to work here herself? That can't be it. Mother told me she's been managing the orphanage for a long time. Yeah, but she's also old. I then noticed a number of people exiting the facility. Isn't that... Thank you very much for your help. This is the first time I've used a cloned body, but it's much more comfortable than I expected. Ha ha! I bet you can't even remember the agony you felt before you died. She nodded joyfully, and I realized she was the person who died back at that house in Coen. I'm glad everything went well. Now we can live together again, just like before. Yes, I suppose so. I was certain she was the same person, especially after seeing that man from before standing next to her. It didn't take long for her to return. On her arm was a brand new insignia shining brightly, one she didn't have on her previous body. Based on what I could gather, it seemed that she chose to live the same life for another 23 years before dying from the curse again. You don't have a choice, it's the same life or none. 60 years ago, the people of Arpachel lamented their short, ill-fated lives. Harnessing the knowledge and technology from the Drifter returned hope to them. After extensive research, a unique system was created to extend the people's longevity. There's my precious. Look at that. I was like, do we get to see him? 2 technologies brought this about. The cloning system and the memory download system. Those who reached their limit from the curse discarded their bodies. Using genes extracted from their old bodies, another could be created in its likeness. In other words, a clone. I'm not sure that Cyan would be the one speaking, but he's the one on screen, so I'm just going to assume. People's memories are extracted from their brains before death and transferred to their new bodies to continue their lives. And this process has enabled people to live repeatedly beyond the age limit of 23 years. A person who employs the technology to live and die for periods of 23 years is referred to as a Reliver. And now, woo! Look! We actually get our Lucas CG! Like, that's funny, because you didn't we, when we first met well, that's true. She didn't meet Mathis. We saw Mathis because he was explaining the story and whatever, but she's never met them, so we only get their first CG when we meet them. So, such is the name that's been adopted. A gentle voice spoke to the children about the nature of life in this country. Upon my return to the orphanage, I came across our usual visiting teacher in the middle of a lesson with the children. Seeing the lively class environment, I couldn't help but admire his ability to motivate the children's desire to learn. It really is lovely for such a stabby bastard, but, I mean, what else did we expect from him, to be fair? The lecturer was Lucas Proust. He traveled across the country, visiting orphanages and other homes in order to educate children in academics. He was also an avid churchgoer and a devout believer in God. And the stabbiest motherfucker. That's what makes it funner. I was careful not to interrupt their lesson. I moved to the corner of the room to put away the groceries I had purchased and quietly moved on to some daily chores. Come to think of it, we're out of cleaning rags. I guess I can make more using some scraps. It shouldn't make too much noise. Class continued as I got to work, but I couldn't seem to keep from listening in on their lesson going on so close by. Excuse me. Now then, where were we? Right, please turn to the next page. He went on to explain what was needed to create relivers and how memories were downloaded. He then talked about how the Institute was the lifeline of the country and allowed it all to be possible. Mother came to visit during the lesson and helped Lucas explain the nature of relivers in detail. Mother's probably got the tramp stamp. Since Cyan didn't have it, someone's reliver mark has to be a tramp stamp. Okay? Someone, you know it. And, like, you know what? If Lucas ever became a reliver, it'd probably be him. Just because he'd be like, what? And you'd be like, you're like the goody two-shoes little god boy and you got the tramp stamp. That's funny. Class was dismissed. Mother guided the children to the main room to play, rest, sleep, or lounge to their heart's content. Sorry. Thank you for teaching the children such an important subject. In Mother's absence, I thanked Lucas for his service. I have to say, you always look like you're having fun whenever you teach the children, regardless of the subject. Yes, it is as our beloved Almighty would wish. I am only providing what little knowledge I have to assist these good children in pursuing the life best suited to them. I believe teaching is my soul's vocation, given to me by God. Lucas clasped his hands together in appreciation as he spoke. He began visiting this orphanage several years before receiving his teaching credential issued by the Institute. Back then, Mother and another teacher taught me the very basics of education. I may have only learned from him once before, perhaps twice, but you're his favorite pupil because, he wants to have an inappropriate student-teacher relationship. Listen! This game, we gotta date our brother, we got an inappropriate student-teacher relation, we're gonna date a grandpa, like, someone who's old enough to be our grandpa, actually, our no, 20, maybe your great-grandpa. He's really old. He's the G-Gilf. He's not even a Gilf. He's like a G-Gilf. I mean, I swear to God, like, at the rate these people go through, like, body, like, damn. All sorts of crazy shit going on. One's not even a real boy. Another one's, like, basically a robot. He's not even real. He might as well be a sex robot. Like, I'm pretty sure only Eve is, like, the only real boy here. The only person who's not slightly inappropriate. Like, Anyway. There's probably something about him. A little crazy, but they're all crazy, so whatever. On that basis, it was difficult to say that we knew each other well, but for some reason, Lucas didn't seem to concern himself with the rumors about me. Instead, he treated me as if I was one of his students, speaking to me in a friendly manner, despite my lack of conversational skills. Suddenly, A certain memory flashed through my mind, likely in response to the class as well as my recent thoughts about the past. To think of it, Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, you're 22 this year, aren't you? If so, then yes, the time for me to make a decision is nearing. Or rather, I may not even have the time to make my decision, which meant that he still hadn't made preparations to become a reliver and overcome the curse of death. Lucas coughed slightly, no doubt from the effects of the curse. Every so often he coughed like this. It was a reminder of the death that awaited him. Are you all right? Let me get some water. Maybe I should move away from you, too. No, don't worry. This coughing will go away if I just stay calm for a while. Addition, let me say that your presence does not negatively affect anyone's physical state whatsoever. Well, that's actually a lie, but thanks for that anyway. See, all better. He forced himself to take a deep breath and gave a gentle smile. But you're forcing yourself to look fine even though you're not, right? Perhaps. Though I will say that I've gotten quite accustomed to living with the cough. So much so that I can actually stop the coughing simply by taking a deep breath. He went on to add that he was also taking medicine for his condition every day. That's amazing. I've never seen or heard of anyone able to suppress the side effects of the curse. Well, he's super fucking strong, so. The curse of death that haunted the country didn't strike exactly when a person turned 23 years old. It was rare to encounter people who actually lived to 23 while remaining healthy. Lucas working at 22 and Adolphe still being able to swing a sword at 21 were among the exceptional cases. Because we know Adolphe is magical. He's our magical boy. And, like, Lucas is super duper strong, so even though he's affected by the curse, it's not as intense as other people. The side effects from the curse were very similar to the nature of disease itself. The talented scientists at the Institute continued to conduct research day in and day out, but they hadn't been able to uncover the truth behind the curse of death. If he can turn himself into a reliever, then he could probably continue his work as a teacher, free from the suffering of the curse. But while the technology behind it's revolutionary, it's not without its faults. For example, apart from money, there's a high price to pay for a different form. Assuming he does become a reliever, what would happen if he lost his passion and love as a teacher for his students? Spacey. Noticing my silence, he spoke my name. I looked up and saw his beautiful face giving me a reassuring smile to ease my troubled thoughts. Please don't worry about me. All I ask is that you make the right choice so that you have no regrets. Stay sound of body and mind, and be honest about what lies in your heart. And this is the only thing I ask from my students as their teacher. He's like, until you date Cyan, and then I will stab the fuck out of you. Listen! That's rude. Stop trying to stab me because I love Cyan, and don't stab Cyan. Do we have to have this conversation again, Lucas? Seems so sweet and innocent, but he's a bastard. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.